Hi, welcome back to StoryHive On Location Penticton. I'm Robb and we're on location live in Penticton with Mike Nash from Kiss My Glass and Nash to Pieces.
Yeah.
And we're live with another episode brought to you with support by TELUS STORYHIve. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing awesome, man.
It's good to see you again.
Ah, thanks for coming back. Have fun.
I'm excited. Since we were last talking, you've actually had some artwork put in to the Lear House and some other things, and it's amazing to see the progress in a couple months.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I have one of my thrones. I call it the Dragon of Doom throne. It's set up down there, and I think that one of the really fun things about, well, first of all, no one's ever seen a medieval throne made of stained glass, but it's fully open for people to sit on, take pictures on, jump around on. Kids can play on it. It's built to last. So it's pretty fun, I think, for them to be able to have something they can offer anyone coming in for pictures and stuff. So that's a lot of fun for me.
That is wicked to see, and it's kind of a nice thing to see the progress, because now today's episode we actually get to watch Mike do his magic. So I'm excited. Yeah. We've got a special way, so I'm going to be grabbing the camera, and he's going to be leading us through what he does, and we're going to check out some of his pieces and go from there, and we'll be chit-chatting the entire time while we do it. So we'll dive right into it, and we'll let you guide us through this amazing process.
So, figure we're going to start with a little spider love bug. I'm making these love bugs in honor of my dog that we lost a couple months ago. His name was Herbie the Love Bug, and so I've decided to build these little love bugs and spread them around. And this one is actually supposed to be a secret for a Christmas present, but I'm not worried by the time Christmas rolls around. And then this one is somebody looking for one, but I have been giving them just as doing a hide and seek, which is a lot of fun for me. Just make them go and hide somewhere, put a little hint on social media where I'm hiding, and the first person to come and find me and tell me to kiss their glass goes home with a little love bug. So I've done a few of them, and I'm donating 2. On November 1st, they're going to be silent auctioned away at an SPCA auction happening here in town.
That's awesome.
So that's super cool that I can help make a few extra bucks for the local SPCA. So here I'm doing a flux. I've copper foiled the glass already, which is the worst part of this whole project. It takes so long. Every individual piece needs to be wrapped in this copper foil tape, because solder won't adhere to glass. It needs some form of metal to adhere to. So with copper foiled it, now I've just fluxed it. I don't want that on there.
It's kind of a cool process. So you start off with a image.
Yeah.
And then you cut your individual pieces. Like, is that
so
glass right there, right?
Yeah, sometimes just making a pattern can take days of scratch it out, try again, scratch it out, try again, get the pattern right. I find one image I like, I work with it, I'll add to it, I'll take away, I'll do what I need to make it what I need. The image, for instance, was a beaded necklace that I found an image of, and I really liked the necklace, the way it looked, so I thought, I could probably make a glass pattern out of that image, and so I got to make my own. You always want to make sure when you're soldering this, you got your soldering iron tip nice and clean, so I just use a wet sponge. A lot of safety needs to be taken. Don't touch the hot end. I can't remember exactly what that temp is, but it'll leave a scar in a hurry. And so all I'm gonna do at first is just do what we call a tinning to get all my pieces together. Now, especially with these love bugs, they all go into a wooden frame that's the exact size, so I need to make sure that as I'm building it, it's made to the exact size to fit the frame.
Okay.
Inevitably, a piece of glass with lots of little bits in it wants to expand as you foil it, obviously, because although it's very thin, each one of those lines adds a little bit. So if it's going into an already made frame, it's really crucial that we get that the right size right from the get-go, because once this is done, it's not that easy to make it smaller. One thing I got a lot better at over the years is fixing breaks and cracks. Sometimes you get a heat crack, or someone will reach out and say, hey, I got this piece that's been in my family for 40 years and it's broken. Can you help fix it? I love doing that stuff, and it's risky. There's always a chance of doing more damage. But I've got a great track record, and it's really rewarding to be able to bring back something that otherwise would have just been sitting in a garage somewhere, broken or whatever.
Yeah.
So you know, like this thing is probably about 10 to 12 hours of work at least to get to this point. And it's nice when you can get the solder together on it, and it really doesn't take very long. Soldering's a really rather quick process. Put it all together. And that's just a tin layer, so I'm going to go back over the whole thing and smooth that all out. Give it a little more flux. Go around the outer edge too. Not the most exciting, but usually I got tunes pounding and they get lost in my work.
Right.
I'll never make the same thing twice, and this one is different than the last one. And I'll never make the exact same thing twice in my life. I made these lines black. Afterwards, we can take a special chemical to it. It's an acid, and it patinas it into a black finish.
That's wicked.
And I usually like the black, you know, something like this. It really helps set off the contrasts and the colors, almost like a picture frame or a TV frame even. They're always black for a reason. But when I set this one off black, I was like, oh man, that silver looks so much better. So, you know, and then if you want to go back to silver from patinaing it, then it's a real pain. You have to resolder the whole thing pretty much.
Oh, wow, eh?
So that one will stay black, and that's one of the ones I'm donating this Saturday. It'll be good and auctioned off.
Where are they getting auctioned off?
Oh, that's going to be at the Copper Mug Pub here in Penticton. They have quite a big fundraiser event coming up.
That's wicked.
Someone who follows me on Instagram, you know, recognized how much I love animals, I think, and so she reached out.
That's awesome.
Pretty nice to be able to put a smile on someone's face like that.
Right. I think that's the whole point of being an artist, too. Yeah, connections is, I've really realized that. I think it's the most important thing to me when I'm on stage is that connection with an individual person in the crowd. And I can understand that being the same kind of connection as someone who falls in love with your work or
take you, for
finds
instance, meeting you and having an interview with you led to me meeting Scotty P. And I know there's already 3 friendships that would have never happened if it wasn't for a simple Facebook post or reach out, whatever.
A lot of the creatives here are very, they tend to know each other, but it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why I love seeing that your stuff is getting out there.
There we go.
Slow zoom out. There we go. That is so cool.
Simple.
And you can see that there's tons of pieces that he's got on the go too.
Yeah, no shortage of work. So I'm just gonna turn that off and go back to it later.
I love this bee.
Yeah, he's cool. So it's a special order. Their design. This is a legacy piece I'm building for my mom. So we've had a lot of death in our family this year. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Right at the start of the year, everybody was excited for things to come, and then we lost my stepdad and my real dad within a couple weeks. She decided enough's enough, and if I couldn't be there, she was going to come here, so we moved her in a couple doors down, which is amazing. When she moved here, we went to the flea market and found this antique. It's actually a Victorian, like from the late 1700s, we figured. And she insisted I buy it and that I'd be able to do something cool with it. It was broken and it's beaten. It had been painted gold somewhere along the way by someone over the years. But the square nails, you know, like little hand-forged nails, and the padding was all horsehair and straw. And this is original, but everything else is deteriorated so bad. So I ripped it all apart, stripped it apart. Had to build these rails for the seat because I think these are cool, but they're not strong. So I strengthened it with this, and I built my own little cushion for it. I did some trim work. Big problem for me was how I'm gonna fit that glass into that hole and finish it seamlessly as I can and still keep an old rustic look. So this is what we've come up with. Took a lot of thinking and effort and unmotivated days, and then finally get together the idea, okay, I can make it all work like that. Built this sweet little bumblebee cushion. Fits in there just nicely. And then this is gonna be our backrest.
Okay.
Don't worry, be happy is our favorite saying. The favorite a Bobby McFerrin song from the 80s. It's gotten her through a lot of hard times. And then that's going to be a backrest. So it's going to be all done in this kind of opaline finish.
Oh, wow.
That swirly back with these oranges and yellows and greens. And you consider each piece takes 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So a lot of hours. These are a lot of pieces. Sometimes just to make a letter, one letter can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, you're looking at 9 to 10 pieces of glass just to put that W in there. M's and W's, all the H's are always difficult.
Is it just across the amount of overlap?
Yeah, and every piece, you know, this has to fit perfectly, this has to fit perfectly, and then I'll get it together thinking it fits perfectly, and as you foil it, spreads everything.
No, I guess so, yeah.
Back to the grinder, gotta make everything smaller again, fit it in one at a time. Every piece is refit and refit as you go along.
When you're buying pieces of glass and you're looking for them, do you shine them in the light?
Oh yeah, I'll spend hours
because yours
in that
is usually
store.
backlit, hey?
Yeah, it really depends, and especially if I'm using blues and greens, it really changes everything.
There's a lot of different types of glass. There's so many I have never even seen before.
It's crazy with the stuff that's available, and tons of different. You know, I obviously keep it color coordinated, but I also have iridescence. Everything in this pack will have an iridescent sheen or a silver back.
And there was I remember you were telling me about a specific one that you used, and it's like a gold.
Yeah,
like
a Van Gogh. There's a bunch of different styles of Van Gogh. It's all hand painted.
Oh wow!
And you know, so it's gold here.
So that's glass.
Then we put it in the light, and it goes gray. So I can illuminate this with LEDs in behind.
Wow!
And make it shine that color. But front lit, we get that beautiful gold. This one's fun. It's a purple, lavender, ghost blue, purple, gray.
I could see you just collecting glass being an addiction.
It's tough. My wife has a hard time walking out of the glass store without spending any money. I can do it sometimes, but we'll generally pick out something just to have. And especially with Christmas coming, a lot of greens and reds, iridescence. They make the most beautiful candy canes to hang on your Christmas tree, you know.
That's one of my favorite pieces of yours.
Even Biggie needs a buddy. Here, let me turn the light
Bigfoot.
down here. We'll see. It gets way better if we turn some light off. And we can get some color behind it. I got to redo the lights. Admittedly, these ones, I use a different set of lights on this, and it doesn't really quite get bright enough. But in the real dark, this is really awesome.
What I love is what you did with the frame.
Live edge salvage from the side of the road.
Just on the off the res?
Yeah, just out of that mill. They put it out on the
I love that.
bin and help yourself.
I built a bunch of stuff with that.
You
It's
bet.
amazing.
It's beautiful wood and otherwise wasted and burned up.
Once you actually get to look at it up close and you realize how much is actually put in there.
This is my first time really playing around with twisted wires to make all these little bulrushes and sticks and things, and copper foil overlay. I'd never worked with that before. That's just a big sheet of copper. Cut out the shape you want and then build up solder until you get the kind of the shape and texture you're looking for.
It's crazy.
A lot of fun to play around with that.
Just the amount of pieces and work that goes into just one. Like you see it, but you don't really give it that understanding.
It's true. Exactly right. If you look in here, it's up to me what I'm going to do with these leaves. But a lot of people, I think, would just say, I'm just going to do it in 2 pieces. But I'm not a lot of people. I'm going to
Separate each individual little...
Yeah, and I see a lot of people use wire. They'll overlay wires, kind of like what I've done on Bigfoot.
Okay.
To get those lines. But I think it looks kind of cheap doing that. I don't know. It's actually, to me, it's more work to cut the little wires and fit them than to just cut more glass.
So when you... Because you have to build each individual piece. So you have to take glass, get it, and then you have to put the foils around.
Yeah, so this is cut and fit up probably 20 hours into this to get it to this point where I can solder it. Cutting, shaping, perfecting every little piece, and then foil wrapping. And then once you have it perfected and you foil wrap it, you're still perfecting and shaping as you go along.
It's mind-blowing to me how, even growing up with somebody who does stained glass, like we were talking about last time, it's so intricate.
It is, and of course the way I do it is worse. I make everything so small, you know. But it's the challenge that I love. Ring saw is a pretty cool tool that it's kind of like a scroll saw for wood that allows you to do really intricate shapes and designs.
Okay.
And this way we can, this is what I'm talking about. This is so skinny, and I'm putting a lot of stress on both sides of this glass.
Okay.
I think most people would just put a line in it and say good enough and relieve that stress by breaking it, but it really takes away from the look I'm going to go for, so I apologize for the noise. It's going to get loud. So if you look really close when I'm doing it, I'm going on a little bit of this side of that paper, because if I don't keep it, I want to make it a little smaller than the actual paper, you know, so that I have room for that foil to fit. This is a really risky piece, and if I get it, I'll be ecstatic, because there's a good chance this is going to break right now. And that's just part of making glass. Yeah. A lot of people look at me and my shoulders and my fat hands, and they can't even imagine for a second that I can manipulate such fragile pieces. Close enough. We don't, perfection is the game, but because there's going to be a lot of solder going into the gaps and the holes, and I have so many pieces, you don't notice a little imperfection here and there.
Okay.
Certainly not nearly as much as if you were doing a piece with all straight lines and, you know, just a few bits and pieces. So now I have my basic shape. I can get rid of this annoying piece of paper that's getting in the way. And I still have to perfect it on this grinder, and this is where we're probably going to break it. But don't put that in the universe, right?
Nope.
Perfect shape to fit in that bit, and just the more perfect I can fit this now, and no sharp indents or little nips and nicks, is going to help prolong the life.
Okay.
Make sure we don't get a stress break along the way. There's still every chance that when I go to solder this, it's going to break from heat. I don't really care. It is what it is. I'll just put another piece of foil tape over it. If it does break, you'll never know. You, me, and whoever watches this on TELUS are the only ones that'll ever know. And that's going to be pretty close. So now I got to dry it.
It is really time consuming, hey?
It is, yeah. And when you look at every piece and the perfection involved, and
how small they are too. So that was wow.
So I have to take quite a bit off that bottom in order to fit that in there. The worst part is I know I'm gonna have to do it again still once I go foil. It might fit perfect now, but I'll have to risk it again still another time. Every single time you handle it, obviously you risk breaking it. Big part of everything is water, making sure you keep everything wet. No little silica bits. Silica sand is really, really bad for your lungs. If we didn't have water, we would want to make sure we had a mask. I can see this little warble in here that I don't like, that's causing me grief on the pattern. I have to try and clean it up once more still, and it's probably not going to work. Dean Winkleman at the Legacy Den, he says, you know, artists are beyond reproach. If you want to be a true artist, you have to put aside close enough in your vocabulary. And in saying that, hopefully I can say close enough pretty quick here.
It's a lot of back and forth.
It really is. And this is, I mean, it's because I'm doing small letters. They're so intricate. They're always like this. And that's why when people question the cost.
So close. Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. And that's like the thing, right? No, something that takes skill shouldn't be cheap.
I know a guy that could do it cheaper.
Right.
Same old saying.
Yeah.
I know a guy that could do it cheaper. Please get him. And there we are. I still am tight, so it'll have to shave down once more, but That's one piece.
That's crazy. And then the centerpiece you have to do as well.
Yeah.
That's so tiny.
So now I have to shape this one. You know, I've already cut the center for the O's, but I'm gonna have to do the same for both of those little circles.
That is crazy.
Yeah, man, it's painful, but
I can imagine.
You know, you get at this point, and that's when the motivation starts kicking in again. Piece by piece, you start seeing it come together. But you know, another 4 or 5 hours of really hard going, and that'll be put together.
Yeah.
Ready for foil. Then another day to sit down and foil wrap it and get it soldered together, and before you know it, the world's passed you by.
Yeah, but it's such a unique style of artwork that I don't think a lot of people are really doing as much, or at least not picking up anymore.
I think there's a lot of hobbyists that make little trinkets and things.
Yeah, but like to be on the scale that you are, like we were talking last time, like the Bigfoot alone, like that thing that's massive.
Yeah,
like
probably 300 or 400 hours.
Like that's...
Maybe not. I don't know. I lose track, right?
Well, yeah, it gets a little...
10 hours can go by in the blink of an eye and you don't even realize you worked on it that day.
And that's not even like the chairs or the other big pieces that you have.
Some of my big ones, some of them have taken 1,000 hours or more for sure.
How do you go about choosing which specific types of glass you're going to use?
A lot of trial and error, holding it up to the light, looking at the pattern. A lot of times I recut. I'll do a piece. There's 2 in the last year that have cost me hundreds of dollars where I had literally 60 pieces of background glass cut into it, and I don't like it, and it's not going to work for me. And we're talking about an $8,000 or $10,000 piece. I'm not going to cheap out and save $200. I'm just going to start from scratch, and I don't care about the 30 or 40 hours that I'm out.
Yeah.
I want it perfect.
That's kind of what I love about your work, is that you're not willing to sacrifice perfection for time.
Or money.
Or yeah, exactly, right? Where some people may do it just to save themselves a couple bucks or a couple hours, and you're like, yeah, no, I'd rather just throw that, like, for example, that tiny little piece in between the tree branches.
In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? Well, sure, it matters that we get that flow. And anyway, everything has its discrepancies and imperfections, but I won't show them to you.
Yeah.
Well, come and let me show you this other one. This one's one of my favorite pieces here. So I call this the Sacred Vow. Found an image I loved. I added flames. I added a bunch of different things to it, and I draw it out in my own version. And it's just kind of like, a tribute to undying love. 2 warriors embraced to their last breath and protecting each other. It's the last thing they care about. So if we look at this piece with front light, and I'm going to turn that back light off, you're going to get more of an aspect of iridescence if you go side to side with it. And all those plums and purples and greens that are so prominent with backlight, they totally change. And then, so the whole point is to be able to change that look from day to night. It's gonna almost look like a totally different portrait. You'll be able to see the oranges and the streaks, and then when the red light goes out and we get green and blue light in behind, that's when it goes black and you can't even see those flames. Once you get green and blue, it doesn't penetrate the orange and the red. So by keeping that in mind, I make a lot of neat things that dance around just by putting that light behind it. It makes those flames almost feel like they're actually flickering in a way.
Even when the way you move with the lights.
That's right.
As it moves and you move side to side, everything just changes.
Yeah, super fun that way. So when you ask about picking glass, that's what I'm always thinking about. How can I make it dance? How can I make it change with front light, back light, daylight, nighttime?
Just getting to see it transition. It's kind of...
changes the whole story in a way.
It does. It also, it captivates you and you don't want to stop looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's mesmerizing. So on a big piece like this, I always put a piece of 3mm glass behind it, just a piece of float glass, so that you can actually push on it and it has structure. So you can clean it. You can take a cloth to it. Otherwise, they're kind of flimsy. It's just tiny little beads of solder holding all that stuff together. This one I call the Phoenix. And salvaged that off a beach in Salmon Arm off Shuswap Lake. Grabbed it, brought it home, found all that chain, everything I used to make that, all that rusty iron, I found that all on the same day on the beach or in the mountains.
That is so cool.
And just turn it into a crazy lamp, a Phoenix, you know. Everything was destined to be garbage, and it's rebirthed into a cool little corner lamp.
And then here's the Murder
Amongst Friends. Yeah, this is, I call it a living storybook. But I also wrote a little storybook that goes with it. I just wanted people to have a little bit of a glimpse into my nutcase mind. And it goes right from the day I found the wood down here on the beach. When I was cleaning it up, I discovered that it has 7 different rocks that it has grown around, and so
they're stuck in there. Like when you found it, you actually had to.
Yeah, this was covered in moss and leaves. I didn't even know that big rock was there until I started slugging it home and realized why it was so heavy.
That's so funny.
But there's a bunch of them all on the backside, and so in the book I've called them. Everyone has a name, and so it's Sigmund the Sycamore and the rocks that never roll. And they've spent a lifetime together. A tree and rocks, and
so stunning.
It would have just ended up in a fire pit or rotting away.
Ow.
Instead, we turned it into a fun little story. For instance, Calvin the calamitous crow. He figures he's gonna get Barry the baby blue beetle for a snack, but Gary the great green decided otherwise, and it's letting Calvin know that it's not gonna happen today. So although there was almost a murder right here, it didn't happen.
That's so funny.
And it's kind of the theme. There's a bunch of little stories that go, there's almost a murder all the way along, but it just doesn't happen today.
That's so funny.
So the only murder is the friends, the bunch of crows that are hanging out together.
The chameleon is incredible.
Carlos, the creeping chameleon, we call him. A lot of people say, why does he have 3 legs? Because he was supposed to be straddling that stick, but it just didn't work.
I never included that.
And I know it's a little embarrassing. Carlos lost a leg.
It happens.
Yeah, he's tough, resilient. So I use jewels in all the eyes. They all have a different faceted jewel, so they all have a little twinkle in them.
Yeah, I love
all
that.
Different colors. Super fun. And again, this cement base, I was looking for just the right thing. I went to the plant store, and she says, well, this thing's $180, but it's broken. Once I told her what I was going to do, she says, give me $20 and take it.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, it's probably going to the landfill at some point anyways, and I can bring it back to life and do something useful with it.
That is definitely one of my favorite ones up here, this one that you have done.
Yeah, but first it must catch you. I call that quick enough with a question mark. Leave it up to the person looking at its discretion whether the bunny gets away or not. That's Miki Hackart from Art of Maquenda. She's given me license to make anything I want of hers, basically. And after making a few different pieces of hers for other people, I decided I wanted one of my own. That one's the one that really resonates with me, and just love the idea of leaving the question up to whoever's looking at it. Is it Republic or? Who's gonna win here, but in my mind the bunny gets away, just for what it's worth. If you look inside the mouth, you can see texturing. This is what I talk about, picking textures. I really wanted that to look like it's in motion, so by picking just the right piece of glass to get those lines and textures it actually looks like it's motion. There's something happening there with his mouth opening, and at the same time that rabbit's feet are hitting the ground. Before the wolf snaps his mouth, I think that rabbit's got the drop on him.
And when you get this angle right here, you really see that iridescent come out on the pieces underneath the rabbit.
Yeah, and so that's one that I had to change the border of. I had cut that border with an extremely $35 a square foot glass, trying to stay true to her original, which is all black and white scale. With the only color in the original is the gold sun.
Oh, okay.
And I told her when I just asked her if I can make it, I told her I would have to add some color to it to bring my flair to it. And she said, of course. So I give the little bunny a bright red eye. and then 2 blue eyes. Miki and I both have blue eyes, so I kind of used our eyeballs as models for the bunny's eyes. And it's from Watership Down. The book Watership Down was her original inspiration, and there's a quote in that book that says, "And when they catch you, my prince, they most certainly will kill you. But first, they must catch you." And I just love it so much, you know, it just really resonates. So, had to have it. And I just never get bored of it at night. We turn it on and watch it cycle through, and
Yeah, I can.
it never gets tired.
It's really incredible to see what your mind produces in a sense of what you can do with glass.
Thanks, man. I'm going to show you my coffee table here. This was...
I didn't even realize that last time.
That was an oil painting that a friend of mine was sick with cancer and doing a fundraiser, and this was one of the silent auctions. I didn't have much money, but I tried and was trying hard to get this as the print, and I didn't get it. So they felt bad for me knowing how badly I wanted it. They sent me a copy of it in the mail, and I asked if I would be able to reproduce it, because it was a friend of theirs who did the original art. They looked into it. Yeah, you can. And so I made this table with it, and I call it a puzzle table because all those squares can be interchanged. And you can actually sit here and...
Oh, what? You can like lift them up?
Yeah, I can take that top panel off, and we can change those around and play around, make it a puzzle. And, you know, I spend a lot of time building it and looking at it, and it still screws me up trying to put it together as
Properly?
a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
That's crazy. How long did that take?
Honestly, it was so long ago now. I made it probably 6 years ago. I would say 2 or 3 months, but I was quite green at the time too. So to redo that now, I could do a much nicer job and in a much quicker time for sure. But that's the beauty of it. I don't ever want to change something I've already done. Just make it better next time.
I love how intricate each one is too.
Yeah.
Like from the woodwork.
That's kind of my favorite part. Once I make glass and I get to turn it into something other than glass, and it's a more of a useful, functional piece of art, that's where I take a lot more joy in the woodwork and turn it into something that nobody's ever really...
Absolutely amazing work.
Thanks, man.
If you guys are looking to learn how to do it, he is the guy to go to.
Absolutely. Give me a
Hands
shout.
down. And my favorite thing is, like, as a metalhead and somebody who appreciates like heavy metal culture, I love that that's kind of like where your theme is too.
Yeah.
That's where most people, like I think we said last time, there's a lot of people who are like perfectionists and purists of what glass should be.
Yeah.
And to push the boundaries, I think is kind of...
Yeah, if it's not tulips
Amazing.
and roses, it's hard to find people that are interested in it. It's like hummingbirds and butterflies. I make a lot of them.
Glass is so incredible. It captivates me in so many ways that it's from creation to what you can do with it.
Yeah.
It's
And the different ways you
mind-blowing.
can, well, just the tip of the iceberg doing what I do. Once you get into fusing and hot shops and blowing, man, there's so much you can do.
glass blowing. Yeah, that's a whole other level. That is awesome. I love how your mind works. it's incredible. Thank you for doing this. This has been absolutely
man.
incredible.
My pleasure,
It's been
man.
incredible.
Thank you.
for
That's
having me.
Fun to show you off.
This has been an absolutely incredible experience and an amazing episode.
Man. Thanks, man.
If you guys want to be part of the show and be a guest on the next episode, there will be a QR code somewhere along the bottom of the episode that you can click, and we will be in contact with you. Once again, Mike,
Man,
thank you so much.
My pleasure, Rob.
This has been Storyhive on Location, Penticton. I'm Robb O'Day, and we'll see you guys next time.